Okay, hello and welcome. So we have today with us Mr. Mahi Dasgupta and Miss Pragnya Amireddy. And Mahi has scored rank 40 in CLAT. I think you also scored very well in AILT, rank 45, right?
Yes, sir.
And Pragya has scored rank 4 in CLAT. I am not aware of AILT rank or whether you actually even wrote AILT. But
I got 72, sir, in unit.
okay, wonderful. So 72 rank. And I mean, I scored 11, but I think you guys did rather great. You know why? Because for me, there was no pressure. I mean, I just wrote the exam. Nobody expects me to do a BA LLB. I am 33, 34 years old, right? But there must be a lot of pressures on you guys with 12th class. Like both of you are in 12th. And this is a really something I wish I could have done when I was a kid, perhaps. But I mean, there was no CLAT at that time. So, congratulations, first of all, to both of you. And just the cliched question, first of all, I'll go with ladies first, right, Pragya?
Yes, sir.
So, has the feeling of, there must be a warm feeling when you saw the result. Has it subsided or is it still there?
In the initial days, the first 1 week, like it was a huge festival type of thing because
Okay,
my family, I'm the first person who chose law as a career in my family.
right.
And हमारे आसपास के जो भी लोग हैं उन्होंने भी like they didn't think I would do so well. So the first few days there was this huge celebration type of thing, but then slowly your parents start inflating or like, deflating your ego. You know, it's back to normal after a few days with boards, school, whatnot.
Right. What about you, Mahi?
Sir, as I had wrote to you earlier also,
Uh,
it was not a rank which I was very happy with personally, but I think people around me were happy, which is something I think that helps you find solace. And overall, when I looked at the bigger picture, I was I was gonna get into my dream college. So I think from that point of view, I was quite happy.
and I have seen your other interviews. I understand that you have a very unconventional choice. Like you are going to Nalsar, right?
Yes, sir.
Still in love with Hyderabad?
Yes,
What
definitely.
what about
Hyderabad
you,
is the
Pragya?
journey to.
Hyderabad was the city I was like born and brought up in, so it was always Hyderabad. I mean, there
Wonderful.
was a brief period where I was like Bangalore, very nice, top one
Okay.
college, but then back to Nalsar.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So, like Pragya mentioned that she is the first lawyer from her family. What about you, Mahi?
Yes, sir. It's the exact same.
So,
Uh,
I mean, this is something that I want to discuss because I think in Hyderabad and nearby areas in Telangana, in Telugu states, most people prefer to go for IIT and NEET. I mean, I have many students from, for UPSC and who say that they have been preparing for this IIT and NEET since they were in class 6th. And then they write their exams, and many of them actually get in. Like, there is a big craze of going to USA, IITs, and then USA. And of course, I mean, we have many big people in USA who are CEOs of big companies from these Telugu states. So this is somewhat unconventional. What is the culture like? Is law a career of choice in there, or was it something different that you did? How did your parents take it? Any comments, Pragya?
So for me personally, in my 10th itself, I decided that I would take humanities stream.
Okay.
So the option of IIT or NEET was immediately eliminated
So
from my
how did
mind.
your parents take it? Like they wanted you to go
First,
for law?
it was a first. First, there was like a brief disagreement because
Okay.
again, no one else in my family took humanities,
Right.
and these were like very unconventional subjects. I had sociology, I had political science, so I didn't really at that time I didn't have law as my career. I was thinking something like okay, political analyst. Then with like proper guidance of my parents and research, which I did by myself, I found these YouTube channels about law,
So can you take
and
names of
that's
these
where it
YouTube
first started
channels?
saying, law as a career. So there was this one by the ex Vice Chancellor of Nalsir, Mr. Faizan Mustafa.
Right, right, right.
The channel is called Legal at Home.
Okay.
And into something, and I came across that channel. Then there was this other called Law Set. Study IQ was one of them,
Okay.
and it just kind of started going that way.
Right.
Again, there was a time in my life where um, I wasn't really sure about my career, but mm, things happened. Good
Yeah, they
coincidences
happened good,
happened,
right?
and
Good
it
things happened. Wonderful.
yeah.
What about you, Mahi?
I think from my childhood itself, I have had a lot of unconventional, let's say, career options.
Okay.
First, I wanted to be a movie director. Then, I wanted to be, for a short while, a cricketer. I wanted to be a writer.
Right.
I used to write a lot of short stories. So I think it was first time in sixth grade when I heard about Ram Jethwani.
Okay.
I think he was the single reason behind me going after law. At that point, I didn't know what was the, let's say, entrance exam for law, what were the law colleges. I knew nothing, right? Only thing I knew was I want to do law and I want to do litigation and I want to do criminal litigation.
Oh,
Now, obviously, that changed.
again, that is
Uh,
very unconventional for somebody writing CLAT,
yes,
like litigation and that too
yes.
criminal litigation. Wonderful.
Exactly. So again, over time, again that has changed. I met a lot of new people. In eighth grade, also I met one of my closest friends who is doing IIT. So you mentioned right IIT
Yeah.
and NEET and all. So I think in my friend group also there are a lot of people who are doing IIT, NEET and all. Some of them, when I meet them today, they say, you know what, I regret taking these. Some of them I know for a fact that they are going to get invited, like that eighth class guy I mentioned. So I think it's a very mixed bag, right? You have some people who are doing very exceptionally well, and some who are not. But at the end of the day, I think for for me, since eighth grade, actually a new passion has been developing in me, which is of business,
Okay.
which is why I did commerce in 11th. It was not something my parents necessarily opposed, not even law, because I think that point of view, my parents have been very clear. You can do whatever you want in life. They're not going to stop me unless it's, when I said move it. That was a very unrealistic dream, right? That was me dreaming as a first grader and all. That's not something.
No, I think that is very understandable if you live in Hyderabad. Like it's the
And then for cricketer also, I think that was for me that was an immature dream. But any other dreams, even for writers, they supported it. It was very clear from their side. You can do whatever you want, but whatever you do, you have to be the best. As simple. There is no
absolutely
compromise. So they were very clear from that point of view. So even when I took commerce, I didn't face any backlash at all. Maybe I would say my grandfather wanted me to take science because he was like, you know what, senior 10th results, why is a student of your
Hmm.
caliber taking commerce? But I didn't have a hard time convincing him either. And he also said, you know what, law is a good field, you can do law. So I think from that point of view, they were very supportive.
wonderful. So family support does play a role indeed. Like if you want to excel, both of you, of course, got your family support. Did you also, for example, Pragya mentioned that she was there, surfing the YouTube. There were certain channels that helped her. Must have also done some coaching, right? Probably had some mentors
Uh,
there. It's fine. You can take their
yeah,
names.
yeah. I joined Career Answer.
Okay.
I joined in 10th grade itself, before
Okay.
boards actually. We used to have a lot of online classes. It was honestly boring. Their online classes were boring. But offline classes were actually fun for the most part,
Okay.
especially in the starting.
Uh-huh.
And at that point, I think one thing which really motivated me was I that at that point, CLAT 2022 was just over, right? So one of our teachers, Tejas sir, he just said, why don't you all attempt the paper? even though we had learned nothing and all. But it's a mock.
It's a good strategy, actually. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, exactly. So I actually, when I had started preparation, and by started preparation, I mean, at that point, I didn't even know the full form of CLAT. I did not know what the sections were. I did not know how much time you would have. At that time, in 10th grade, or I guess in ninth grade ending, I had given 2021 ka paper. I think when 2021 was.
Mhm.
In that paper, I think I had gotten 75, 77 something.
Okay, impressive.
Right? I did not. I did not think that was impressive. It took me around a week to get over it. I thought, I had done bad, and then I spoke to a few people. They motivated me. Then I did 2022 ka paper, right? Which was in again when I joined Career Launcher when offline classes started. So in that paper, I think I got around 83, 85. So I did not know how to feel about it. So Tejas sir said, you know what, why don't you just come meet me? So I went to his, office or whatever, and I met him. And he told me, you know what, I think that's a good score. He didn't really go into the drill down analysis. So again, at that point, I don't think that's necessarily the thing. What he said was, I think you have done well, and you should be aiming for NLS. And I believe him. And honestly, that was a big confidence boost. And I think and there were a few other great teachers like Murthy sir, yes sir. So these faculties, their classes were also fun. They were very, encouraging and all. Again, few of the classes were boring. I cannot, lie. A few of the classes were very difficult to stand.
Okay.
Some teachers were very, let's say, politically motivated, wanted
Oh.
to push a particular agenda.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I did not subscribe to that agenda. I see Pragnya smiling. Pragnya probably had that teacher too. She knows exactly what I'm talking about. So
That
so
happens.
obviously
That will
these
happen in
happen.
college also, right?
Yeah,
That will happen everywhere.
exactly.
Yeah.
But exactly. But other than that, I would say it was very fun. And then in Career Launcher, I met a few friends also. Pragnya was in my school anyway, but I met this guy called Abhinav. I met a few other people, Maitri, Pariti. So I think we met a lot of people in Career Launcher and got to connect with them better.
Okay, what about you, Pragya? You were in the same coaching, right? So
Yeah. So
when did you join?
I joined again, same thing in my 11th, sir, but
Okay.
I took the online course, so I wasn't in Mahi's coaching.
Huh.
I was in Career Launcher, but not the same branch.
Okay.
And my journey was completely different.
Okay.
So even though I joined CLAT coaching 2 years before CLAT 2024, that feeling of CLAT is approaching, I should start preparing.
Okay.
That came 6 months before CLAT. I remember because I wrote that date down on my bulletin board.
Okay.
It came on June the 14th. That is when I realized that CLAT is happening. I need to focus on it. Before that, I was into all sorts of things. I was doing MUNs, I was doing conferences, I was doing school extracurriculars.
Okay.
Literally everywhere except CLAT. Once I started seriously focusing on CLAT in like June 2023-ish, then I started watching again toppers talks, interviews, and I came across this one mentorship session with this organization called NLTI,
Yeah.
National Law Training Institute, and I joined them. So my first mock was actually a CL mock, and I was so bad at that time. I didn't know that there was a concept of negative marking. I honestly didn't know.
So
I
this was
attempted
like-
all 150 questions.
This was like 6 months ago?
Oh no, this was back in February.
Okay.
I was in a
This year
they
itself,
started the
right?
mock.
This year itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So I attempted all the questions. I got, I guess, 72, 75 in that first mock. And then it was a spiral from there. So sometimes I used to get 80s, 90s, then it used to go to 50s in the 150 marks mock.
Right.
Then suddenly June, the shocking news came, 120 marks. The pattern was changed.
Right.
I remember till this date, the first mock tape of the 120 marks, I got 48. And this was 6 months before CLAT.
Okay.
That was so disheartening.
Must have been
It took
shocking, right?
1 week. Yes, yes. So I remember going to my friends and being, "Bhai, let's go search for some other law colleges. Private law colleges were also very nice.
Okay.
I don't want to do CLAT anymore." So that type of stuff happened. But then again, I met Mahi and others from my school itself who were preparing for CLAT. And once we started actually seriously focusing, surprisingly, my mock scores improved within like 2 months. So from 60s, I went to almost 90s
Right.
just because of that focus. So barely in September.
Okay. Wonderful.
So,
So it seems like the peer group also helped. You had a few friends who were actually preparing seriously, and that helped you lot score a bit better. But speaking of it,
yes.
like both of you, you were very sort of unsatisfied when you took your mocks. But what was the feeling like when you got the paper in the exam room? I'll tell myself, like, I got the paper, and unfortunately, I had written already on social media that I am going to get two-digit rank. Right? Okay. So, I mean, now, either I lose face or whatever happens. So, I saw the paper and okay, like, this is going to require 100 plus score. Nothing else is going to cut it, right? If you want to get two-digit rank, it's going to require 100 plus score. And perhaps somehow, I mean, I'll credit myself that I kept my calm. I am generally calm person, so perhaps that helped me get through that thing. But many people, many students this year particularly, they were not able to perform better or up to their potential because they were somewhat disorganized, somewhat disoriented by the easiness of the paper, or perhaps the nature of the paper. I mean, who gives the answers to GK in passages? We saw that once in, I think, 2020, but like not all the answers. Here, anybody could score 20 to 25 in GK, and all your edge is gone, right? The people who are seriously preparing, you require three things. One, you must be good with English, you must be able to read it fast and understand it. Secondly, you must be thorough with GK. You must have done like 2-3 months of GK at least. You have given 2-3 months. Thirdly, I mean, a decent amount of maths is required. So what was going on in your mind? Like in my mind, it was okay. बेइज्जती हो सकती है अगर मैं कुछ गड़बड़ करूंगा यहाँ पे. But I calm myself down. How did you handle it, Pragya?
So my mom hates me for this. Honestly, she hates me because on the day of CLAT, my center was almost 1 hour away from my home.
Okay.
So I had to start at 7, 8 in the morning, and the entire car ride, I was listening to songs.
Okay.
I didn't have any book. I had one book of like a storybook type of thing. I didn't even read it. I was just looking through the pages. And then I was vibing to those songs.
Uh-huh.
So the minute we got to that center, luckily it happened to be a college I already visited once before. So the minute we got there, I was talking to my mom, and my mom was trying to, she was telling me to focus. First attempt GK section, then go for this section. She was trying to help me strategize.
Uh,
Meanwhile, I was like, मम्मा देखो, अगर क्लैट नहीं होगा तो प्राइवेट कॉलेजेस बहुत अच्छे हैं. सिम्बायोसिस देखो, इतने इतने अच्छे पैकेजेस मिल रहे हैं सिम्बायोसिस में. जिंदल देखो, जिंदल कितना अच्छा है. So I think one thing which helped me on that day was I gave all my attention to my mom and I went into the exam center. So that pressure wasn't really there for me.
right.
And so I heard this on some video on. For CLAT, you either have to be so arrogant that when you go to your center, you trust in yourself that you are the best person there, or like me, you have to be a person who's going to knock out all. So till the last 10 minutes before I went into the exam center, I was listening to high beat Marathi songs all the way, and I wasn't paying attention to anyone.
Okay.
But Marathi counting the digits in my Aadhaar card number just to distract myself. And the minute I saw the paper, of course, that feeling was there कि इतने सारे efforts डाले. Me and Mahi were part of this one group where we did GK together. And it kind of felt disheartening that इतने सारे दिन we didn't sleep, we didn't go out, we didn't talk to friends also. We were
पूछा क्या?
preparing for class
ये
and
पूछ
that's
लिया.
it. Exactly. But then again, there is that thing, we'll feel disappointment after the exam is done. We'll overthink after the exam. We'll be angry at consortium. जो भी करना है after the exam. Now, for these 2 hours, focus on the exam.
Right.
That was my mind. Personally.
Wonderful. That is something that will help you a lot in your life. Okay, wonderful. What about you, Mahi? How did you, yeah,
Sir, the video she mentioned where she saw that you either have to be very confident or you have to be
Ar-
very procedural about things. I saw that video too, and I was very clear in my mind. I can't be very procedural about things under pressure, so I was extremely confident. I was 100% sure that if not in this center, if not in Hyderabad, in India, no one can be. As simple as that. I went in with the mindset I am already Air 1, why am I even writing this? But in that, so I was okay. Here's the thing, right? I was very, very confident about my quant because quant was something that I always quoted on 10, 12, 112, right? So quant I had no problem. And as for all the reading sections, I knew my comprehension was great and I could do those sections too. Only section I worried about was GK, which is why, as she mentioned, in the last 1 2 months, we have studied literally 6 to 10 hours per day for GK. That is not an exaggeration. And in the last, let's say, 2 weeks, I can say personally, I have not even slept. There are some days where I've pulled 12, 13, 14, 15 hours for GK, right? Even the day before CLAT, I had told myself that, you know what, on 2nd December, I'm not going to study. I'm going to, watch some movies, talk to friends, go out. But I did not do that. I could not end up doing that because I still had some revision left. So GK मैंने किया उसमें. Like I sat down and I started in GK, and I don't know, I just got carried away and it became 11 p.m. and I just went to bed. So I think GK engulfed us, right? But when I saw the GK in the paper, my reaction was very different. I did not feel that my effort has gone to waste.
hmm.
I actually felt I was like GK easy aa gaya. And I was expecting that, you know what, if I score even a 20 in GK out of 30, I'll be happy. So here I can score more than a 20. I know my reading is good. I know my quant is good. So now it's settled. What is the issue? Like I was very happy when I saw this. Now, obviously, I think my happiness, satisfaction with how I wrote the paper was on a downward curve. When I went to the exam hall, very high. I sat for the paper, very high. Came out of the exam hall, I told my father, you know what, it went amazing. It was amazing, right? Even in the car, I was super confident while going home. Slowly, 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 उस दिन से नीचे नीचे नीचे. So after that, that was the highest I went.
Okay,
That
right. So, the three skills I mentioned, one is reading and comprehension. Like in the English one, the logical and the legal. If you see, actually, there is no difference. It requires the same set of skills, which is basically your English should be good. You should be able to comprehend and answer whatever is written in plain English. Somewhat technical in legal, but mostly it's easy enough in English and logical. So that requires, I think that requires years of practice. It doesn't develop, you cannot develop that in say 2 months or 3 months. So do you like to read a lot or what? I mean, obviously you have read a lot. So what exactly do you like to read, Pragya?
So, sir, like you said, reading does play a very important role. I think I got an edge personally because my grandparents on my father's side, both of them were English teachers.
Okay.
So our house was filled with like English books of this big size, Shakespeare. Though I'd never read them, but that thing was always there. Key, I want to read a lot. So for me personally, I like non-fiction and political books a lot.
Okay.
Recently. Before that, it was Percy Jackson and Harry Potter.
Okay.
They were my favorites.
Yeah, I
And
have
they
read
still
them.
are.
I have
Uh,
read them as a kid. Good books actually. Okay, what about you, Mahi?
Sir, to be very honest, I used to read a lot when I was a child. Tinkle comics, then Journey Skeleton, all this stuff. To be very honest, I lost interest in reading. Right?
Okay.
I did not even read Harry Potter because I started reading it. Then I was like, you know what? It's too much to read. I left it. Percy Jackson, I never touched it. I only read stupid. Oh, Daddy of Wimpy Kid. I still read Daddy of Wimpy Kid to this day. I have the latest.
Okay.
So I never read any actual literature. The last book I read, which could actually be called decent book, was and it's right beside me actually, the Dalai Lama's Cat by
Okay.
David Mitchell.
Hmm.
I don't think it's a very popular book. I found it in a Buddhist monastery once, so I bought
Okay.
it. It was a good book. It was an enjoyable book. I read that 4 years ago. Since then, I have not read anything which can come close to being called literature. So I don't know, just by chance, my reading speed comprehension was good. I think that's because from my childhood I've read English quite a bit, and as I said, right, Tinkle comics and all that. So I think somewhere deep down I was good at that. So I never needed to read, actual, let's say, books.
Right. Do you read
That is something I
newspapers?
recommend.
What about newspapers? Do you read newspapers sometimes?
I read them in the starting of my prep,
Okay.
and then I felt they were wasted. And since then, I'm not done.
Okay. So both of you are like none of you are math students. You are a commerce student. Pragnya, you are a
I'm
humanities student, right? But mathematics is an important part of this exam. Like 10% of the marks, you have to do mathematics. 10% is huge. So how did you manage it? Was it because perhaps you were better in maths even in class 10th? I think it's very easy maths, but does require some calculations. It is somewhat lengthy for people who are not in practice of doing mathematics.
So for me, sir, in my 10th, I got like very good marks in maths with the grace of my amazing teacher.
Huh.
But after that, I left maths completely. The one of the main reasons I chose humanities was I don't want to touch maths.
Okay.
And it turns out economics may also you have to use maths. So there was the tiny bit of disappointment when I found that CLAT also needs maths. Starting maybe like in February-ish, even then I was like, I don't want to do quant. We'll see if it comes easy. Then we'll do it. Otherwise, it's light. But then again, when the exam got reduced to 120 marks, I realized that it is a very important score booster section, which will make or break your rank. I did try studying it. I was looking at concepts, modules,
Okay.
going to random YouTube channels for help, like solving previous year CLAT papers. I could get like a minimum of 4 or 5 marks in every mock I gave, maximum 12, but that was pretty rare. So one thing which helped me a lot was very 2 days before CLAT, I decided हद हो गई है. So I sat down, I took out all my old mocks. I started solving the QT section of almost 30 mocks in those
Okay.
2 days. And that kind of like boosted my confidence saying that जो भी होगा देखा जाएगा. CLAT में QT हो जाएगा हमसे.
ठीक.
And it also helped me with those like formula revisions, short tricks revisions, stuff like that.
Do you remember the tables till 20?
No.
What about you,
No,
Mahi?
no, I don't think I have 13 tables.
Maybe if I have to just recollect them, I think I can.
Okay, okay, wonderful. So, see, like Pragya already told us that she generally hears music, listens to music, Marathi music. What about you? Do you ever relax, Mahi?
Not to music, no. Generally not. I listen to music if I'm writing notes, and then I'm feeling bored. So while writing notes, sometimes.
Okay, so while I was writing the paper, what happened was I started with the section. I started with maths, right? I'm an engineer. I'm good with maths. I remember tables till 20. So I do maths, right? Now I started with maths. I did my GK. Then I started filling my OMR sheet. This is a very small thing that I do. I don't fill all the answers at the end, right? And I advise my students to do also like do it in batches because थोड़ा दिमाग गर्म हो जाता है करने के बाद में. सो परहैप्स रिलैक्स योरसेल्फ, डू अ मैकेनिकल वर्क लाइक ओएमआर फिलिंग, और बाद में भी फिर प्रेशर नहीं रहता कि लास्ट में आपको ओएमआर फिल करना है या नहीं करना है. हाउ डू यू डू इट? लाइक डू यू go in a particular order? Do you fill OMR in the middle after every section? What is your procedure, Pragya?
So I've always been told that you need a proper strategy to decide which sections you're going to attempt in a particular order.
Right.
But for me, sir, that never really worked. I have to change the order according to the question paper.
Right.
If, for example, legal was easier, I would take legal first. If GK was much easier, I would take GK first because it's
So,
the most coding
how do you
section with the
decide
least
it's
amount of.
easier? Like, do you go through the paper once for say 4 5 minutes
I
initially?
do it.
Okay.
Yeah. I just look at like the topics of the passages. If it's something interesting, let's say about history or art and culture, then I decide ki first I will do English, then I will go to legal. It just happens mechanically,
Right.
and I think that skill of ordering your sections that comes from practice. You need to give as many marks as possible so that in the final day you are able to decide which sections to attempt within 2 3 minutes, so you don't waste much time there.
Right.
And yeah, there is always this one thing that you need to fill OMRs as soon as your section is done. If possible, after the passage is done, but definitely after the section is done. Again, my thing was completely different here because I surprisingly at GK, and after that I started filling in all the questions at once
Mm-hmm.
because at that point my brain overheated. I had to take a break, and
Right.
that's when the OMR thing came. And after that, I went to English and legal, English and logical, and I got it done. English and logical, I did it after every passage because I knew that I did 3 sections in a streak.
Mm-hmm.
So I need those little tricks to make sure that my mind
Correct.
is
So,
focused.
rest your brain as much as. What about you, Mahi?
So generally, I had a flow set, and this was for career launcher mocks. This was tailor made for career launcher mocks, which was CA, QT, legal, logical, English, right? But I realized, I think a week or two before CLAT, or I guess a month before CLAT, that you know what, maybe this is not the best approach to writing a CLAT paper because QT and CA, they are they can be used as let's say tools for relaxing your mind. So what I did was in the paper I started with legal because I think in CLAT ka paper and especially the sample paper they released, legal required a lot of concentration. I think you had to observe every small detail.
Correct.
So I knew that would be the best at the start. So I did legal. Then I went to CA. Then after that, I did, if I'm not mistaken, English. Because for me, always logical was the easiest step. So I was sure that even if I put it at the end, I'll be able to do it just as well. Because logical, not essentially in CL mocks or anything. I had seen logical of all the previous year papers, right, from 2020. So for me, logical appeared like the easiest section. So I put it for the end.
Right.
So that's why. After that, I did QT. After that, logical. It's a different point. This year, logical was a bit unexpected.
Right.
So yeah, especially the answer key too. But it's okay. Logical may I put it at the end, and I think it worked out.
Right. So, like, what do you like to eat? Unconventional question, but like studying, when I sit to study, perhaps I have a packet of chips or something. Sometimes I order. Do you have a study ritual? Is it something like you do when you want to seriously study? Some people listen to music,
Uh,
right? Yeah.
for me, sir, it was the same old thing. Lock your room, put on AC if it's hot, otherwise fan. I personally like wrapping a blanket around me. I don't know why, but it's kind of like cold and warm at the same time.
Okay.
And I don't have food when I'm studying. I generally just have like a drink, Coca-Cola,
Okay.
water, whatever. Songs again. Songs are my mood maker, to be honest.
Wonderful. What about you, Mahi?
Nothing as such. I think I just lock my room and well, to be honest, I do a lot of stress eating. So if food is lying around, sure. But generally, I
Okay.
don't. Generally, my parents don't keep chips packets at home, so whatever is there.
Okay, so is it like a set time for studying? Some people study in the morning, some in the night, perhaps. I was your age, I used to go like in the night. Perhaps now I am older, I prefer in the morning. What about you?
For me, sir, I had to manage school and CLAT because my attendance
Right.
was really bad in September, November month. So I used to wake up 7 in the morning, go to school, come back at 3:30 ish, and it took me till 4 to finally come. And I used to study till at least 10 or 11. After that, the last 1 hour was basically for revision or for GK specifically.
Okay.
Uh,
Burning
I
the
study
night
at
oil,
night.
right? Literally burning the night, or not oil, but yeah, something. Okay. What about you,
So
Mahi?
for me, my brain works mostly in the night.
Okay. Okay. What about you, Mahi?
Yes, sir. I think it's the same for me. I stay awake till 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., sometimes 5 a.m. Sometimes I'm studying, sometimes I'm not studying. It is what it is. I my sleep schedule is messed up. Yes.
Okay.
So studying I generally prefer at night. Although for the large chunk of 2 years, I studied when I want. So
Okay.
that's the plan. If I felt like studying, I studied. If I
How
didn't feel like
how
studying
many
or
how many
studying,
mocks
I
did
did.
you guys do? Like, I would like to know the ballpark estimate number. What about you, Pragya? How many mocks you must have done in, let us say, 6 months or 1 year?
For me, it was easily 70, sir.
70. So like more than one a week, two a week perhaps. What about
I,
you,
yeah.
Mahi?
Yeah. For me, I think it was 100, I think. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
So like every 2 or 3 days you will attempt one mock, right? 2.5 days, 3 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
Generally, yes.
Okay, so we are almost at the end of our conversation, and I would just like to know if you had any sources that are perhaps not very well known regarding certain sections. For example, to my students, I say just go through the NCRT 11th and 12th legal studies, right? Or I'll give you the gist, especially for ALET, but for CLAT also that might help because when the paragraph is something that you have already read, that will help you out. So, are there any such sources that you followed and that you would like the people to know, Pragya?
My So for me, sir, the legal studies won't actually help. My optional in 11th and 12th is legal studies.
Okay, wonderful.
And then I had a relation with my other subjects also. I had economics and political science. So the GK there and the stat especially that helped me in CLAT also, at least in the mocks, if not in the actual
Hmm.
paper. One source I would suggest is this one website called GK Today,
Okay,
or this there's this one AI which Mahi sent me. It's called Perplexity AI.
okay,
That actually helps a lot for research and for other stuff also.
okay, wonderful.
Um, Unconventional sources, I think Wikipedia is one of them for GK.
Okay.
Honestly, even though you cannot verify the facts there, it is a good thing for GK research because it's a rabbit hole. You
Mm-hmm.
will start at Pokhran, you will go somewhere to, let's say, Indira Gandhi assassination or Independence Day conspiracy theories, stuff
Correct.
like that.
Okay. What about you, Mahi?
Yes, sir. I think for GK, as she said, I had a very unconventional view about GK. Is after seeing the sample paper, they expect us to know a lot of things about a lot of things, right?
Right.
So if that is the case, why don't we make use of AI? There are two AI tools I identified, as she said, Perplexity AI, and the second one was Bard,
Okay.
right? Google's AI.
Yeah.
But the thing with Bard is it is not very let's say accurate. Sometimes it makes up stuff when it doesn't have an answer to it. So with Bard you have to be very careful and not push it. If it's not giving an answer, take because if it gives an answer, it might be wrong. Perplexity, on the other hand, is well researched. They literally provide you sources
Okay.
for whatever they are saying. It's a very let's say trustworthy source. I have never gone wrong using Perplexity. Sometimes it is, sometimes I guess one or two times it has been the case where it has not really understood the context in which I'm asking the question. So it has given an answer which is technically correct, but not correct for the question I'm asking,
Mhm.
right? But overall, I think perplexity is very useful. And
Wonderful.
secondly, for GK, I think there are a few YouTube channels which one of our friends used. Advait, he was extremely good at GK, right? So he was always on YouTube, and for him, GK was not something he's studying for class. It was
Right.
something that and he was studying since, like, let's say he was in fifth grade. He just
Okay.
loved GK.
Okay.
So he and sir, by the way, you are a UPSC teacher, right? So I think you should know his dream is to become an IPS officer.
Wonderful.
So GK is something he knew about, right? So on YouTube also, I asked him, "What do you do when you want to do time pass?" Like, I just go on YouTube and start watching GK. How I could not even relate how that was time pass for him, right? For me, it was watching a movie or let's say watching some comedy videos. For him, that was GK.
Right.
GK is how took out his let's say frustration of the day. So I think from that point of view, you can find a lot of useful channels on YouTube. And I also think everyone should have a study group, especially for GK.
Right.
And oh by you should only have people in there who you trust. I always wanted to say this. I never could say this in any formal interview.
Okay.
Never have people in there that you do not trust. Pragnya knows as well I do. There are people who have betrayed us there. Outrightly stabbed us in the back.
That happens
No,
in every study group. Like perhaps you
exactly.
prepared your portion, they won't prepare theirs or share whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. It's as if there are 10 topics. I've said, you know what, I'm taking these two, you're taking these two. I will do my two topics. They are not gonna do their two topics. And for those people, right, they don't care what happens. See, they are not doing those two topics not because they want something bad to happen to you. They're not doing them because they themselves don't care about the exam.
Right.
So have people who care about the exam, have people who care about you. Full stop. If you do not have that, then there's no one having.
And I also
And
have a theory like a study group never has to be more than, say, 4 or 5 people. If it is
exactly,
bigger, problems will happen.
Right.
exactly. And I think there should be a Google Doc for recording CA, which is what we had, so everyone can revise it, right? And I think everyone should go through the sample paper that consortium released this year, because
Right.
I don't think GK I'm gonna pass it, right? I don't think that is a very I don't think that is something next year's aspirant should expect either, because I think that's a one and done thing from the consortium. One of the surprises that he's throwing. So I think for GK, look at the sample papers, and people will get an idea for how much the consortium wants us to know, and prepare topics in that level of depth. At least the
Right.
important topics.
Okay. Thank you. So, final question, like any message or anything you want to say for aspirants for next year? Many people are very afraid, like they are saying CLAT is going to overcorrect. So, perhaps next year they'll make it very, very hard. I tell my students, see, you have to be prepared. Who knows whether it will be hard or it will be easy? Be prepared and don't panic in the exam. So, what exactly would you like to say, or if you have any comments at all? Pragya?
So, sir, again, I would say CLAT is one of the most unpredictable things on planet Earth existing right now. Looking at the sample papers, we all thought, okay, GK is going to be very tough. Look at the questions they're asking. They're asking about Nobel laureates. They're asking about Booker prizes.
Right.
Um, People are not going to know this. It's going to be difficult to score 15. I would say, first of all, never go off assumptions. What is right for you may be wrong for someone else. What is wrong for someone else may be right for you. So, never ever believe things like this year class is going to be easy. This year class is going to be tough. This year GK section, this question will definitely come. No one can 100% guarantee it. Even the consortium itself cannot
Right.
guarantee it at the end of the day. And second thing would be you really need to take care of your mental health. Personally, I got lucky here because I had a group of amazing friends in my school and amazing mentors. Um, Divya, Mridula, people like them in my school already, and then mentors like There's this one person I consider my brother,
Right.
Abhiram.
Right.
Then my parents, teachers, always go to them whenever you have a problem. So these guys, I would call them at least once a week, midnight, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock,
Okay.
saying, मुझसे clap हो रहा, मैं छोड़ रही हूँ. I said this 1 week before CLAT. I called Mahi and told him this 1 week before CLAT. So it's important to have that support group whenever you're scoring low in mocks, whenever
Right.
you feel like GK is too much, my brain is gonna push. Call them, talk to them, it will sort itself out. And third thing is, your mock scores isn't where you are right now, not where you're gonna be when you give the CLAT exam.
Right.
So never judge yourself on the basis of your mock scores, though you should always try to them, but never take it as the final thing.
Just a simple question. Did any of you do very well in CLAT mocks like top 20, top 10, something like that ever?
For me personally, my career launcher rank would range from 200 to 500.
Okay.
It was all mainly in that range. Two or maybe three, four times I got into the top 50.
Right.
Apart from that, nothing.
Right. What about you, Mahi?
Right. For me, I think I was in the top 20 in CL generally. Although I would say, in CL, right, a lot of people also, I think, to be very frank about it, lie about their scores, right? So don't always believe people. I know a couple people, I won't drop names, who lied, who openly lied. And then we know what happened in class. So I think it doesn't really matter. And even Pragnya, I remember one of these days, she told me she called that she's giving up on class. That was not the only call she said that.
Huh.
In the in the past 6 months, there have been so many calls where she has said that. And not only that, she has been freaking out over small things, right?
It happens.
This certain guy who used to openly lie about his score. And she, I don't know, you believed him? Did you believe him, Pragna?
He used to tell me that he got 110.
Oh my God.
I know, na. I told her he's lying. I told her he is lying. I don't know. She was, for some reason, terrified by it. No one can get 110 consistent, right?
Right.
So people are gonna lie. It is something that you should expect. And one more thing about CLAT, I think I think everyone now knows CLAT is very unpredictable. I think every aspirant does know that. One more thing I would like to say, and I am saying this from experience. I know more than a couple people. Don't expect CLAT to necessarily be fair.
Yeah, right. You
It is
can't do anything about it.
quite,
Life is unfair, man.
exactly, quite unfair.
Yeah. You can't do anything
Depending
about
on
it.
the year, exactly. I know deserving people who didn't get in. I know undeserving people who didn't get. It is yeah. I know people from the top 10 who would not even have been in the top 1,000.
Okay.
But it's but it's certainly definitely I would say luck is a factor. Don't discount it. You can try to counteract with your preparation, right? So maybe if you were let's say prepared to get top 100, even if you have an unlucky day, at least top 500 you can get.
Yeah.
Right? But don't expect to don't expect it to be fair, right? So I think that's what I've realized from giving class this year. And I think I was naive in the sense that I thought it would be unpredictable, but it would be fair. It was not fair. But I think that's expected. That's in every sphere of life. Right?
Yeah,
So I don't think
of course.
that's saying a lot.
So, I mean, that's wonderful, amazing insights you have given. Thank you very much for joining us, Mahi and Pragya. And hope to see you after your exams. Perhaps you would be, kind enough to guide some of our students or in general aspirants regarding CLAT preparation, right?